Today I will demonstrate how to develop acceptance criteria for T1 critical quality attributes when showing biosimilarity between a reference number of lots and your biosimilar lots that you produced. The two scenarios we're going to talk about is when the number of reference lots is less than or equal to the number of biosimilar lots. We'll also talk about a scenario where you have more reference lots than you have biosimilar lots. This is the a little bit more interesting case. For the reference lots and equal to the biosimilar lots, say you have 10 reference lots and then you have, say, 10 biosimilar lots. Now, what you're going to do for both cases is you're going to develop a 90% confidence interval for the difference in two means and develop acceptance criteria to compare that to. That's just 1.5 times some estimate of the standard deviation. So, what we did is we built a little script that'll do this for us. If you have 10 reference lots and 10 biosimilar lots with the same number, what you'll do is you'll use all reference lots and all biosimilar lots to develop the 90% confidence interval for the difference in two means. And what you'll do is then use all the reference lots to establish the criteria or that estimate of the standard deviation. Something like this. And then so you have the confidence interval here goes from negative 0.978 up to about 1.93. And you compare that to your equivalence margin. Understand that this equivalence margin uses an estimate of the standard deviation from all 10 reference lots. You see that equivalence is established here because that confidence interval falls within those goalposts established by the equivalence margin. You could also have a scenario where it is not equivalent. It'll look something like this. The same thing here, being that the number of reference and equivalence biosimilar lots are the same. You're going to use all 10 reference lots to establish the criteria and used for the 90% confidence interval for the difference in two means. In this scenario, there is a difference in means, and so you want to be able to pick that up. You developed a 90% confidence interval, goes from about 1.11 to about 14.82. In the acceptance criteria established using all 10 reference lots, goes from negative 9.8 all the way up to 9.8. So you see that equivalence is not established because your confidence interval does not fall within those goalposts. A little bit more interesting case is a scenario where you have the number of reference lots is greater than the number of biosimilar lots. So let's just say that we have 25 reference lots and we have 10 lots that we produced. And so what you want to do is first thing is you want to build that 90% confidence interval. And next, you want to establish the acceptance criteria around those using an estimate of the standard deviation. Now, if you have 25 reference lots, what you do is you randomly sample 10 of these reference lots and you use that for the confidence interval. So you're comparing 10 of the reference lots to 10 of the biosimilar lots. The remaining 15 you use to establish the criteria for the acceptance criteria for that 90% confidence interval is you'll see that this confidence interval right here goes from negative 10.1 all the way up to 4.7. That uses all the random sample of size 10 reference lots. The remaining 15 is used to establish the criteria. You'll see that that confidence interval falls within that those margins or those goalposts. Therefore, equivalence is established. You could have a scenario where equivalence is not established. Same thing is we're going to take those 25 reference lots, and you're going to have 10 biosimilar lots. And just as we talked about before is you're going to randomly sample off of this 25. You're going to use that random sample of size 10 to compare to the 10 biosimilar lots. The remaining 15 is going to be used to estimate the standard deviation used for the acceptance criteria. Okay, and we have a script that does all this for you. You'll see that your confidence interval goes between 0.98 and 17.43. And when you use those remaining 15 lots to establish the criteria, that goes somewhere between negative 12.45 and 12.45. You'll see that that confidence interval is way outside that equivalence margin, therefore equivalence is not established.